About 2 years ago, I decided to design my own Pokémon. It turned out like this. I had made some other designs, but this one was my favorite. However, when I showed it to my classmates, it came back with less than stellar reviews. It's been about 2 years since I showed these designs to the class, and I want to revisit this assignment. Now, before I jump into how I redesigned the first one, I first wanted to look at what an actual Pokemon design looks like. So I chose Breloom, and immediately there are a few lessons that we can learn about how Pokemon actually designs its Pokemon.
Number 1, the line weight of Pokemon is very thin. I've also learned with high quality images that the line weight and quality differs between generations. It varies between pen and ink line work and very digital line work, depending on the generation. Number 2, colors will always be separated with a black line. There are exceptions to this rule. I saw Celo's mustache as an example, as well as Leafeon's tail. Number 3, there is a maximum of 5 unique colors on any given Pokemon. There are exceptions to this rule as well. Rule 3.5, Pokemon generally get more colors as they evolve. Number 4,
any sharp line must have a rounded edge.
I'm noting Tyranitar, which does look like it is very spiky, but you will notice that it is quite cutesy. Ultimately, rule number 4 is that your Pokemon should be as collectible as possible. You want them to almost look like a toy because the goal is gotta catch them all.
Rule number 5, Pokemon are frequently 1 to 2 items or animals in combination.
Breloom is a plant dinosaur or mushroom dinosaur. There may be an additional theme that I have not noticed, but you want the idea to be simple. So let's re-examine my original chicken concept and see what went wrong. Now, a brief aside, I did add those very thick, bold lines around the chicken months after I showed this to my classmates.
For fun.
But in any case,
Rule number 1,
thin line weight. My chickens here in the first and second evolution have a thin line weight, but are a lot more flimsy and less confident than you might expect. Now, number 2, colors separated by a black line. This is simply not the case. This is most notable in the spring onion or leek in the first evolution's head, as well as the head of the third evolution's white fading into red, fading into blue, fading into brown. There should be lines separating those colors. Number 3, a maximum of 5
colors per Pokemon.
Let's go with the third evolution. We've got blue, yellow, red, pink, green, blue, white. We've already hit 7. Too complicated. Number 4, round your design and simplify your silhouette. The beak on the third evolution, as well as the little crown in its chest, are a bit spiky and not quite so rounded and friendly. But I must say I do really enjoy the pose of the third evolution. It is sassy. And number 5, simplify the concept. There is too much going on here. The concept is egg, chicken, rooster, plant, pink polka dots. Why is there a crown there? It's too many concepts.
The next step is to move on to rough sketches so I can fix what I've messed up so far.
I did want to retain the rooster as the animal as well. Once I found some rough sketches that I liked, I decided I wanted to upgrade the illustrations a little. It gave me a better sense of what a final design might look like. Now, I immediately liked my concept of a fire-type cooked chicken Pokemon, but I hesitated at the fact that eating your Pokemon should be so obvious. The other one of my improved designs that caught my eye was the chicken with the wattle scarf. Now, I didn't like the pre-evolutions in that evolutionary line that I had made for my scarf chicken, but I did love my tutu chicken because it's so funny to me that it looks like a sunny side up egg. Now, my tutu chicken does turn into a little ballerina chicken and then an omelet ballerina chicken. And while I think that evolutionary line is quite concise, I decided I really like the omelet chicken, I really like my sunny side up chicken, but I also really like my scarf chicken. You know what? Let me take out the tutu and let me make it fashion chickens. Now, you can see in my design me trying to consolidate the tutu and the bow tie ideas
so that it could branch off into either a dress or a bow tie, depending on the gender.
But I decided, you know what, I'll start with the first evolution and I'll work my way up. Pretty immediately, I found the cutesiest little beak shape as well as smiley little figure I could find. Now, I would iterate on this a little bit more, but its design and color and concept is pretty solid. It is done enough for now. It goes on to the evolution line. Then I say, you know what? I can't design the middle Pokemon until I've designed the final two gendered evolutions. Let's start there. Bam! Looking good. Let's iterate. All right. No major changes. It's on the evolution line. For the middle evolution, I can't decide what kind of fashion it should be, so I settle on bow tie and skirt. Fix those colors as well while I'm there. Look at us go. We have a final evolution line, and we're practicing some of these new techniques we've learned. Now, it's not quite done. The hardest part is yet to come. Naming the Pokemon. This part was significantly harder than anticipated. I had thought, oh yeah, it'll be really cute. Just pick chicken and slap a word onto it. Then you're done. I took probably a full day just brainstorming different words for fashion and chicken. This includes fashion elements and chicken elements, as well as just aesthetics and different words surrounding each field.
For the first line in this evolution process,
I have named it Chick-cute. It is both a chicken and it is cute. And we're just going to kind of forget that it's an egg for now. It originally had the name Waddle Tutu, which I quite liked, but I couldn't find any other names in the evolutionary line that would make that make sense. The next name in the line that I quite enjoy, I think is funny, and fits within that fashion chicken realm, Chickempt. It's a chicken, and it's well kempt. It has a little bow tie and a little dress, and it treats itself well. But by far, my favorite names, and the ones I came up with first, for the male, it is Roostyle, rooster plus style. I quite like it. And for the lady chicken, we have Fash Hen, my little fashion hen. I love it. I think it's clever. Hush. It did take me several days to come up with those names, and I know that someone can do better. But in any case, with all those fashionable hens named, it's time to move on to the very last step of this process. Now, I did want Chick-cute to be a little rounder and a bit more egg-shaped, so she really does look a bit more like a sunny-side egg. So I did that. Chickempt, I think, is by far the weakest designed of this lot, but it's a placeholder. It will do the job appropriately of bridging the gap from Chick-cute, a design I love, to Roostyle and Fashion, also designs I love. Roostyle's nose was looking a bit big and wasn't really feeling how I wanted him to feel, so I needed to tighten up his design even a little bit more. Fashion, I definitely wanted to have a bit more of that, I think it's 18th century, maybe Gregorian, big fancy poof dresses to be extra fashionable. Fashionable. So I made refined pen and ink drawings, which I deemed final.
Then I put them into Photoshop to paint them up.
There's definitely, probably, almost certainly, a rule 6 somewhere about the shading, But because I started this process looking at stickers of Pokemon and not the actual final drawings, I couldn't actually tell what finished refined Pokemon were supposed to look like. So there's a few coloring errors I've made here and there. Now, I did go and download someone's brush kit for Photoshop for Pokemon.
You can find those linked in the description.
But in any case, there are definitely errors with the digital art. It's not something I do too often. As you can tell, I did make this entire drawing with just pens and watercolor brushes.
Who's that Pokémon?
It's Rustyle. It's him. We love him. He's great. So let's see how far we've come. So our original first line of the evolution line was not refined, was all over the place. The line quality is weird. The colors were a bit off and all over the place, and too many of them. And the concept was just not there. Our new Pokemon is Chick-Cute, the very cute, cuddly, much more concise design. Now, Chick-Cute could still use some improvements. The line quality is not perfect. The pose could also be a bit more dynamic. But otherwise, I'd say a pretty darn solid Pokemon design. Our original second Pokemon, while fitting in that look for the gangly teenage Pokemon, was also just not quite refined. Chickempt, while I think there is certainly a lot of room for improvement, has a lot cleaner of a concept as being a well-kept chicken, and I think that is executed much better and in much more of a Pokemon looking aesthetic than the original middle evolution. And now the final evolution. While I must admit that first drawing, that chicken has a lot of swagger.
Rustyle's concept is a lot more precise. The colors make more sense, and I think having the coattails and the little blue jacket look is a stroke of genius, if I do say so myself.
Fashion, having softer edges than Rustyle, distinguishes it, and I think overall its design as a fashionable omelet chicken is successful. Ultimately, I would definitely have benefited from another pass of designing and another, I would say, 3 passes at refining each Pokemon. I'm noticing on my final design of Rustyle, some of my scarf edges are a bit harsher than a Pokemon would normally have. I would also want to modify the poses of, I believe, every single Pokemon. I designed them in a way so that they'd all have recognizable silhouettes, but only Fashion and Rustyle show any notion of personality in the poses. Color choice as well could probably use a little bit of work, but I like where I am so far. But I say I've made a significant improvement in my Pokemon design choices, and so I'd say this is a successful revisit. Thanks for watching.